girls, let's read. Today we're going to do lesson 1.6. Our standard for the lesson is the student will ask and answer questions about key details in a text that's read aloud or information presented orally or through other media. We're learning about asking and answering questions to help us understand what we read or what we hear. Essential questions. How do I ask and answer questions to better understand a story that is read aloud to me? How do I identify rhyming words? All right, we're going to do a quick review of the parts of the book. This is the what? Front cover, back cover, spine. What is the spine? The spine is the part of the book that holds it all together. All right, this on the front cover, we have the title of the book, we have the author's name, we have the illustrator's name, and on the spine of the book, we also have the author's name and the illustrator's name. We have the title and the author on the spine. The title and the author are listed on the spine. Now, the author, we said, is the person who does what? Who writes the story. She's writing the story right now. She writes the words. The illustrator is the person who does what? Turn to your study buddy and tell them what the illustrator does. The illustrator makes the pictures. The illustrator makes the pictures for a book. Okay? Now, let's look at this. This is the table of contents. We talked about how the table of contents helps us find the poem or the story or the chapter that we're looking for so that we don't have to turn every page in the book to find where we are. All right? We have read The Purple Cow. We've read If I Were a Mouse. We read Hey Diddle Diddle. And today we're going to read There Was Once a Fish. How do we know what page it starts on? We let our finger follow those dots all the way over to that number. That number is the page number that we can find the poem or the story or the chapter on. So There Was Once a Fish is on page 16. All right? When we read from left to right. We start at the top and we read from left to right. After we read the top line, then we go down to the line under that and we begin again and we read that line left to right every time. That's the way we do it. We use our finger to help us keep up with the word as we read it. And that is called tracking. When we're using our finger to keep up with where we are as we read, we are tracking. Okay. Let's get our book set up so that we can see our poem. Let me get ready. Okay. The title of our poem is There. See, we're starting at the top and we're on the left side. We're going this way. There was once a fish. The illustrator is Arnold Lobel. Arnold Lobel. He's illustrated a lot of books. All right, now, our focus questions are, what do you think life would be like as a fish? Well, and the other question is, where do fish live? Well, if you were a fish, you would need to be a good what? A good swimmer. All right, and fish live in what? They live in the water. Okay, let's read. Now, we're going to start at the top, left to right. Here we go. There was once a fish. What more could you wish? He lived in the sea. Where else would he be? He was caught on a line Whose line, if not mine? So I brought him to you. What else should I do? Okay, that was a short little poem, but it was a cute one. Now, let's take a look. First of all, why do we read poetry? We read it to enjoy it. We don't read it to really learn stuff. We just read it to enjoy poetry. All right? Now, the text, that means the words that are in parentheses. See these little, let me draw some up here on, no, I don't think you could see it on the board. This little curvy line right here, and there's a curvy line. The words in between there, we say that's in parentheses. Parentheses. All right? The text in the parentheses shows that the poem has two parts. The first part is the main idea, and the next part is just funny questions to the reader. And that's us. We're reading the poem. So that's just a little funny something to us. There was once a fish. What more could you wish? He lived in the sea. Where else would he be? He was caught on a line. Whose line, if not mine? So I brought him to you. What else should I do? All right, now, let's listen. I'm going to read it one more time. This time, I want you to listen for the rhyming words. Now, we said that rhyming words sound the same, except the beginning sound is different. Okay? So you listen to see if you can find some rhyming words. There was once a fish. What more could you wish? So what are the two words that rhymed in that? If you said fish and wish, you are right. There was once a fish. What more could you wish? Fish and wish have the same sounds except the beginning. All right, let's read the next part. Listen for the rhyming words. He lived in the sea. Where else would he be? Okay, now, in that one, what rhymes in these two lines? If you said C and B, you're right. They have the same ending sound, but the beginning sound is different. C and B. All right, next. He was caught on a line. Whose line, if not mine? All right, I heard two rhyming words. Tell your study buddy what they were. He was caught on a line. Whose line, if not mine? Line and mine are the two rhyming words. All right, and the last part. So I brought him to you. What else should I do? Okay. So I brought him to you. What else should I do? What are the two rhyming words in that part? Tell your study buddy. You and do are the rhyming words. They sound the same, but the beginning sound is different. Okay, now let's look at the illustrations in this piece that we just read. All right, there was once a fish. Where's the fish? It looks like it's almost in the ocean, and there are lots of waves. And there's the hook. Somebody's trying to catch him. Okay, so yeah, it is. He lived in the sea. The sea and the ocean are the same thing. All right? Now, he was caught on a line. Whose line, if not mine? Now, look right here. See that line? Somebody caught him. He bit that hook. And they're reeling him in, pulling him in. And the last illustration, so I brought him to you. What else should I do? Now, they've got the fish on a dish. They're ready to serve it to somebody to eat. Okay? Good job. Okay, now I want you to retell the story, which was the poem, in your own words to your study buddy. I'll just give you a second. Tell your study buddy what happened. Okay? These are some questions that might help you when you're telling the story to your study buddy. Who is the poem about? Get the camera fixed that. Who is the poem about? Okay, the poem is about the fish. Where does the fish live? The fish lives in the sea. What happened to the fish? Somebody caught the fish, didn't they? And then what? Somebody's going to feed it to somebody. All right, now we looked at the illustrations and we talked about what we saw in each picture. So the illustrator had to read that first and then make the pictures. Now, we talked about what the rhyming words in the poem were. Fish and wish. C and B. Line and mine. You and do. Okay, and there's, in summary, how do we identify rhyming words? How do we know if it rhymes? If it rhymes, it has the same sound except for the beginning sound. So, let's put fish and wish up here. Let's put another rhyming word up here with it. Let's put dish. Now, all of these have ish at the end. The only thing that's different is the beginning sound. Ish is the same sound at the end of all these words. Ish, ish, ish. So the way we identify rhyming words is we look for words that have the same sound except the beginning sound is different. So I want you to practice with your study buddy. Let your study buddy give you a word and you try to give them a rhyming word. Okay? Practice doing that. And we will pick this up again tomorrow. Good job, guys.